Right, I'm basically recording a video. In fact, I'm going to record an extra one because for some reason something else has come up in a basically I checked Facebook basically because I went on there to check at something and a video come up and I thought, oh, brilliant! It's just giving me an idea for what I can talk about, and it's basically something to do with squibbling over 50p. Now it's basically saying um as somebody has said, life is too short to quibble over 50p. And it's more or less to do with the fact that, like when you go out in a group, basically, one of the examples might be whether it's a work to do or it's just going out with friends or whatever, basically. And the idea is it could be a party, it could be just an ordinary night out with friends, or as I said, a work do. You're going out, and basically they say, let's split the cost. So basically, you go out and you have a drink or whatever you do, you have some food, and basically they say that the bill comes to so and so, and then you have to split the bill. And I've been reading a lot of comments on this, and I'm going to stick my pence into it. But I think that I don't like the idea. I don't like the idea that you should always split a bill. Partly because we're not all rich. Some of us people are not rich, and basically, why should it be that, for instance, I might go out, right, and I might only have, depending on where I am, I'm not saying I'm going out with my mum and dad. That's another factor altogether, and it's the same as when if I go out with my other family, basically, if there's a party going on, usually my aunt might say, "Oh, we'll split the bill." So my mum and dad, basically, with me, we just basically pay our little bit of share for whatever we have. But all I'm saying is, if I go out basically with a few of my friends or some people, and they say about splitting the bill, it's not for me to basically be happy about that. I would want to split the bill because first things first, I don't buy alcohol. I don't drink. So I'm not going to be sitting there drinking £10 bottles of wine or having beer that's going to cost the end of the earth. I literally will have a Coke. I normally would have a pint of Coke and it might not cost a lot. So I might only be paying, say, depending on where we are, we might be in a place where it might only be like £2 for a Coke, basically, and that's a pint of Coke. Where a beer might cost £3. I'm not saying it does. I don't know. I'm just saying it might. Or somebody might order a bottle of wine and it might be £10, and then they might end up ordering 3 bottles of wine. The food is again on the same thing because I might not go out and order food. I might not be in a restaurant or a place where I'm ordering food, or if I did, I might only order chips. I might think, I only want chips. I've got a bit of money in my pocket, maybe. And I'm saying I'll have a pint of Coke and I'll probably just have a few chips. Basically, if I wanted any food, or I don't want no food, and I don't see the point of why I would go out like this, where I'm thinking to myself, I've got to go out, basically, with these group of people, and I have to split the bill, when I don't probably eat as much, and I don't have as much to drink, because I don't think it's fair. I honestly don't think it's fair. Some of us are not, as I've said, are not rich. It's easy for some people to say that they should split the bill and say, but to them, it could be basically that they're having more. If they're eating a starter and they're eating a meal and then they're having a dessert after, or whether they only have the main meal and a dessert, or whether they just have a starter and a meal, then yeah, I can understand. They might well say, oh, there's lots of us, we're all having our food. The bill might, you've got to think about basically how many people are going to be there. So let's say you've got 10 people, and 10 people all go out and have whatever. Right, there's 10 people. I could be one of them people. Or say 11. Right, so there's 11 people and I'm the 11th person. 10 of them people could all have wine and they could all have a meal and blah, 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 blah. The bill, I'm only estimating. I'm not going to turn around and say this is true, but the bill might come to £200 as an example. That might be the cost of basically what they've had, because they've had a couple of wines that are like £10 bottles, which might be £30 worth, or they've had some meals, you know, a meal might cost, I don't know, depending on what they're eating, or whether some people are having beer and so on. So, therefore, a £200 bill might have to be split 11 ways. They want to split it 11 ways because I've got to pay my share. Which I don't feel strongly about. I mean, the likelihood is that you could have a £200 bill split between 10 people. And that could be £20 each. My view, and I've always said this, and I think it's something that I've always agreed on for some people, is basically, I used to do this with my friend, basically, and the idea was that I have always said that if I went out with my friend, or some friends, and they bought me a drink, I would always say, if they buy me a drink on that night, I would buy them a drink the next time we go out. It's always been something fair, in the same way as food. Like if I went to another town and I was going to see my friend and she said, right, I'm going to buy you dinner. Right, we're going to have a drink and a dinner. It could be in a fish and chip shop or whatever. I might say, okay, fair enough, you do that. I would return the favour if they came here. And I would likely say, do the same. But yeah, I don't. I'm very lucky because I've got a good friend in Peterborough who really does buy me a drink when I go out into the pub. I don't go often with him, but we go probably 3 or 4 times a year, maybe, whatever. And usually he buys me a drink, so I don't really have to buy one. I do though. I would buy a drink, but I could have 2 because I know that my friend would buy me a drink, basically. But I just don't like the idea that it should always be split in equal ways when, say, you're going out and you're not basically having as much as them. Because some people only go out and they only have tap water or whatever. You know, they're going out to socialise, but they're not going out there to drink. I'm not a drinker, as I said. So, why would it be that the bill should always be split on that way and that? My other idea is, I reckon that basically we should all pay our own way. I think that is the best thing that should ever be done. Pay your own way. Don't split the bill, but pay your own way, because that means when you go out, you can buy as many drinks as you want and pay for whatever you want. That is basically it. Because I go out and sometimes I don't take a lot of money. You know, I will often go out with my friend to the pub or whatever bar, whether it is in town or wherever. And basically, I would probably say I'm only taking something like £5 with me. I'm not taking no more. I'm not expecting we're going to be eating, but I've got £5. If for any reason we went into a place like McDonald's where my friend said, oh, I want a burger or something like that, and I've got money if I wanted to buy something to eat, if I wanted to. Not that I would necessarily, but I can. But it's more or less on the basics of saying I can buy myself a drink. I've got £5, I've got no more. And that's usually what I would take with me because I'm not expecting to spend a lot of money in that night. So I could buy at least 2 drinks with it, or 1, because I might not need a lot of drink. You know, if I'm going to be out there at 8 o'clock, I'm probably getting the last bus home, so, or maybe the bus before, so I'm going to be there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours with my friend. And basically, I can make a drink last that long. A pint of drink can last that long, or I can buy 1.5 or 2, whatever, if I'm there for longer hours. I just think it's a good idea to pay your own way. That's what I always think, because that way, you take whatever money you need, and then you don't have to go over it, because it's just the best way, you know. Because even if you were going out, you might say, oh, we're going to go out and have a pub crawl or something like that, where you go to a few pubs. I might sit there and say, oh, I don't mind if I come with a few people, you know, or if we're going out for somewhere where we have a meal and a drink and that. And I'm just saying, pay your own way. Because it means that whatever I order, I'm paying for myself. If I want a pint of Coke and I want to buy only some chips, then if it's going to come to £4, because it might be £2 for the Coke and £2 for the chips at this particular place, then that's all I'm paying. I'll pay my £4, that's all I'm paying. And if somebody else wants to go and buy a bottle of wine at £10, and obviously wants to have a meal and a starter, that is going to be, say, £12 for the maybe they're charging something like £8 for the meal, £4 for the starter. That's their choice. Because at the end of the day, if they have to pay £25 or whatever for their meal and drink, let them do it. They're paying for theirs. Everybody should pay for their own thing. If you're going to have a split and weigh thing, it should be fair to the person who isn't going to be having a lot, where they can say, well, why don't you just chip in for a little bit, only for the fact that he's only had chips, he's only had a Coke, or something like that. Easier said than done. But that was just my view on it anyway. But I've got my other video to do, and then that'll be it. And then I'll get them all uploaded as and when. So until then, bye for now.